You're alone in your living room. The lights are off. The muted blue glare of the TV reminds you of just how helpless you really are. Thunder shrieks, the wind howls, and the attic creaks. A knock at the door surprises you, matey.
Hey, I didn't order any pizza.
You stand up as the door crashes open and the murder schmurder crew enters your home.
Oh,
yeah. They yell jokes, pop culture references, and start mansplaining some of the most vile true crimes you ever heard of. You listen to them, unsure at first, but relaxing into it. Pretty soon you're laughing, horrified, and strangely turned on. At some point, they realize they've forgotten to introduce themselves. So make room in your heart for Grant, Jamie, Austin, Carlton, Joseph, and the friends, lovers, and our acquaintances they pressure into hanging out. Like your creepy ship captain who has no friends. Ahoy there, matey. Is that a stack of doubloons you got in your pantaloons? Or are you just happy to see your old captain? Come back to my quarters, and I'll show you my booty. Make room for Murder Schmurder.
Welcome to Murder Schmurder, the podcast that you are now listening to. I'm Joey.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Carlton. And I'm Grant. We have a special guest this evening.
Very special guest.
Who's going to be talking about something that she has not told us what it is yet, I guess, for the element of surprise. Or maybe it's so horrible she only wants to have to say it once. I'm not sure. It seems...
Oh, no, I'll talk about this anytime. You bring it up, I will definitely share every bit of information that I have on it. So I did bring some tequila.
Sweet.
There will be a lot of content that's, it's not the best. So sometimes you need a palate cleanser.
Right. So do we need like an initial tequila shot, or do we?
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead and get a little taste
That's
for it.
a fun idea.
Okay. Yeah, I'm into that. All right.
Yeah.
Do a little
slugs for everybody, and then I'm going to remind Jamie that he needs to take the lens cap off. Of his fancy camera over here.
This is just part of the professionalism that makes Murder Schmurder your new favorite podcast. Man, that is like the one tequila I can shoot and not feel terrible about.
It's great tequila.
It's because it's frozen. It enhances the taste.
Frozen helps quite a bit. Shout out to Espelon. Unless Espelon was also founded by a Nazi, like apparently Adidas was. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, it's Adidas. I'm very surprised you didn't know about that.
I don't know why you say Adidas like I should know.
Because that's the original way you say it.
But that doesn't sound German to me. Does Adidas sound German to you guys?
Yeah, you have to think of a frolicking man and
Am I just stupid? Apparently everyone knew Three Stripes was like a death's head. Like,
yeah.
And Puma. Puma was his brother.
Now you're just fucking.
No, I'm not joking. It was Adidas, and then his brother made Puma. Why do you think when Ye started saying all that anti-Semitic stuff, they had to legally let him go because under the German policy is they have to be transparent about it. So it isn't a beneficial thing. It's a by law because they were founded in the Nazi period. They have to abide by those things.
Cool.
Yeah, that scans.
Yeah, that is actually in the Book of Mormon.
Sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's in the book.
Yeah, I remember that in social studies. Yeah.
Social studies?
Yeah.
Wait, they actually told you about that in social studies?
I'm joking.
Okay. I was going to say, it's only 3 things. Civil War, Nazis, and Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
That's all you get.
February, you get a Black History Month.
Yeah. For a couple days.
Yeah, there you go. The shortest month.
Yeah, sure. Black History Month.
But what I find interesting is Hispanic Heritage Month starts on the 15th. They don't get the whole month.
No, you haven't earned it yet.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. No, I get.
But the thing about Black History Month, too, I feel like, is they don't teach you about, like, actual Black history. They're like, here's the Black history that's been curated for you. Because they're not going to talk about Malcolm X or what's the Black Panther who was assassinated by the CIA? Fred?
Oh, Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton, thank you. I always forget his last name. But yeah, they're not going to tell you about that because they don't want you to know about that. Yeah, he was awesome.
Insanely awesome guy.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
You should really look into Rosa Parks before the bus. She was a very, very prominent figure in getting justice for people. She was really into it. Yeah.
No, she was handpicked by MLK because she had the look of someone who, if they got kicked off a bus, it would probably make a big uproar, a public issue.
Oh, like a sweet-looking old lady that is just like,
Sort
oh
of
yeah, when this lady gets kicked
lady.
off, they're going to be like, no fucking way.
But how does that conversation
amazing.
start? Does he just stare at him and be like,
You know what? I like to picture MLK getting a
Have a
bunch of old
seat
ladies
for me.
together.
I love the idea of like
Yeah.
a lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a casting call for old ladies.
No.
Not cute enough.
No.
No.
Too
you were
cute.
not in that dream?
Oh, you know what? I can go
need
by
another
Sally Saltwater.
Sally Saltwater.
My alter ego.
There we go.
Yeah. Homeless lady by night, real estate agent by day.
Yeah, Sally Saltwater.
Sally Saltwater,
Sally
as
Saltwater.
I have told you many times, is a realtor in Panhandle, Florida. And she's got the brightest smile this side of the Gulf, baby.
She lives under a bridge and her dentures come out.
Now, I like this character a lot, but I also think that any real estate agent would never be homeless because they've got the code of the lockbox.
No, she's going through a lot. It's not.
It's part of her allure.
It is by choice. She lives under the
Yeah,
bridge.
she's
without
very
teeth.
much homeless by
Some
choice.
people do choose to be homeless.
With
It's fine.
no affiliation of drugs, just love taking those dentures out in the middle of the night.
As far as like making this a show, I want it to be like homeless at night, realtor by day, superhero all the time.
Well, it has to be her in like a little power suit that is a capri, like it doesn't reach all the way down to her feet.
Oh, no, because you don't need full length,
you don't.
like
You
leg
don't.
sleeves in Florida.
Because once you get down to the bottom of the river under the bridge, your ankles are going to get wet.
and then all that bridge water's just trailing on your pantsuit, and you look like an asshole going into the home showing.
Yeah. Yeah. My hair gets thinner when I get under there. No wig. It just gets thinner and you see bald spots. But that at the light of day, just beautiful.
Gainesville's #1 realtor.
So you like transforming when the sun comes up, like
Yes.
Sailor Moon? That's what I'm thinking.
Oh,
in my
I'm
head.
thinking more like a golem. You know how like he transformed from like a hobbit to his final form? It's that. It's that. It's the obsession.
Oh, okay. So her cheeks
Yeah.
get fuller, her teeth get wider. You know, the sun kind of hits her just right, and then it's just like, wow, check out Sally
Yeah.
Saltwater go.
Always got a fresh batch of cookies, doing that little jive step.
So
Like,
wait,
that's
is she a realtor by night?
No, by day.
Oh,
By
I
day.
was like, I just imagine
You can
how.
only have fresh cookies in the morning.
Can you imagine
though,
how
so-
much you would feel like you were about to get murdered if you were going to a house showing at night? Like, yeah, the realtor only says she works from like 10 to 11. It's the only time we can go, I guess.
Does Sally Saltwater try to date? Because that sounds awesome if she does. She's like, I only go on breakfast dates.
Isn't that just the plot of Shrek?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, we're doing a reverse
I
Shrek.
would
That's what I was
love
thinking
that.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
but
Shrek
it's much
2.
darker. Much, much darker.
It doesn't have to be. She's just living her life under the bridge. No, we'll just stick with
Sally Saltwater.
No, I like Sally. Sally Saltwater sounds awesome. Okay,
Yeah, I feel like she's got a lot of saltwater taffies in her pocket too. Like it comes with the turf.
Joseph, can you do the intro for us again?
What's this? Oh, this is Murder Schmurder. Welcome to Murder Schmurder. I'm Joey.
Jamie.
I'm Carlton.
And I'm Grant. Tonight we have a very special guest with us, Sally
Saltwater.
Sally
Saltwater.
Saltwater.
So I'm just meeting her now for the first time.
Yeah. If you need a house in the Ocala region, she will help
got
you
you.
out.
You know, it's my passion. It's my glory. Well,
Or maybe it's an alias because this is apparently a very, very dark topic.
well, I
Yeah.
enjoy it, and I'll talk about it every day of my life if I want to. But to publicize this on the internet, I would like to not disappoint my parents too much in this lifetime. So, thank you all for letting me be on here. I know that you don't know what I'm here for. So, today I'm going to tell you about the Omegaverse lawsuit with Addison Kane and Zoe Ellis, which is a deep dive into erotic wolf porn.
Okay.
Right? Very interesting. Stop me anytime if you've heard this before, you know. So, just to gauge the room, has anyone read any form of fan fiction?
Yes.
Like an entire thing or just like segments of fan fiction? Because I've read segments. I've read examples of fan fiction.
Well, were you serious about it or was it a joke?
It was probably from crack.com about how ridiculous this fan fiction is. I think it was Elrond from Lord of the Rings and Captain Picard
Interesting.
having
Interesting.
having a
Sex?
That's a fun
sweet manly
crossover.
sex. Yeah, right. No, like when I read it, I was like, this kind of fits.
Yeah,
like
good
this
job,
kind of
guys.
works together. Like I ship them now. Did I use that right?
Yeah, that's it. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
perfect.
So I'm somewhat familiar.
Well,
with
you're getting the whole point of it. Like it all comes from watching a movie and just watching characters and say, wow, they would definitely bone in real life.
I would like it if they fucked.
Yeah, I would like to. Yeah, and if they made a baby, regardless of their gender, and that's what we're going to get into today.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
just to get right off the bat, is fan fiction is a really great free avenue that is mostly dominated by female authors. It really expands on the idea of a character within a certain scope, regardless if they're dead, regardless if they're not gay, and it goes on the line of you being the main character. It's really easy to pump out, 60 chapters when you don't have to do any story building or any development. And usually fan fiction artists are considered parasites of the author of the literature world. But it's super easy and, they're not all masterpieces. There are very, very bad ones. A very common trope in fan fiction is a girl being sold by her mom to One Direction. Not one of them, but all of them. The whole band.
Yeah.
It's a real...
Being sold by her mother.
Yes, to
That's
slavery.
a common trope.
Yes, into sex slavery, it's kind of like a reverse harem almost. But I don't think they realize that at that point.
Is it like a dark horror or is it like erotic?
It's very erotic because all of them are like, we're not going to touch you. You're going to be safe. And then they all have sex all together.
I mean, One Direction, the group, bought a sex slave. So I feel like starting out the gate saying, oh, we're not going to do that. No, it's not the one purpose we bought you for, is a little disingenuous.
Yeah, and it seems really bad that most of the girls in these are around the age of 13. So those are the girls that are usually writing this and are self-starring in these novels. So it does feel a little rough finding it, and you just got to click out. You're like, oh, nope, not for me.
I would just like to point out that Grant has already gone back to the tequila.
It is a palate cleanser. It's here for you.
Okay, hang on real quick. Carlton, this might be tough, but you have a daughter.
Oh, my God.
You come home.
Why are you doing this?
You turn on your computer. You see what your daughter is writing in her free time. And it happens to be Omegaverse erotica. What?
Initial thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what Omegaverse is?
I'm whooping her, but also critiquing her grammar at the same time.
That is a good
How
dad.
dare you?
That is a
Great
good
sentence structure.
The syntax is so unclear.
I appreciate that.
Punctually.
So they're not all masterpieces, but there's really great literature in this. And I'll call it literature because it can be very addicting to read this stuff, especially if it's something based loosely on some sort of canon that you're into. It can take a completely different turn. You're somewhat interested in Lord of the Rings. You and another character will go on an amazing adventure. And it can be very beautiful. Even we all know the popular example of 50 Shades of Grey. It came from Twilight. And it's pretty popular for a lot of fan fiction to just change up some names and really become bestsellers. It creates a real good atmosphere for a lot of women to write a lot of about their kinks, about what they want to do, and especially because they're female authors, it's kind of the shared understanding. There's obviously male authors, those are plenty, but it is mostly a female-dominated space. And it comes from just finding a character slightly attractive in a movie, you're most likely going to find a fan fiction. If you're really into Sonic the Hedgehog, there's probably a fan fiction already out there. And most questionably is if you find a character that seems a little young, there are spaces where they age the character up to college years and continue with the story. So
That's nice.
it presents an area where you can age up a made-up character, right? But it's not always like that.
Oh.
Some places don't age up the characters, and some people really make a point to show their worst kinks. It's a place that can be seedy, and it's full of tropes, and most people try to find stories that meet those tropes. So,
Real quick question, sorry.
yes.
So, let's say you wrote a story with someone that's under the age of consent. Do you post it like under your real name, or you're like, my name is.
Oh, I'd imagine they've got nom de plumes on this.
Yeah, they're all pretty much just usernames, especially with sites like AO3 or fanfiction.net. You would make up a username.
Do they tag it like...
They do tag it.
Do they tag it specifically as like underage?
Yes. There is a very big community about daddy-daughters.
Wilson looks so upset.
It's like Joseph's upset for like humanity. Like, see, this is why we can't have nice things. This is why the aliens come, check on stuff, and leave.
This is why the goddamn aliens are going to come here, look at our planet for 5 seconds, drop a bunch of hydrogen bombs, and move the fuck on.
Right? I believe it.
My God.
But at least the tags are there.
Do you see what they're doing?
Well, at least they have the tags there because you're not going to want to read it. You don't want to come across it.
I mean, you know what to avoid, I guess.
Yeah,
that's
what,
a positive.
Yeah, you will find in the profile or the description of a fan fiction about 20 tags, and it can be super specific. It'll be like enemies to lovers, character death, aged up, college, pregnancy, death. Like it'll be. You can read
what's
the whole.
What's the worst tag you've seen?
Honestly, it's that.
It's hard to beat underage.
That's what we're talking about
yeah,
tonight.
it
I'm
was
assuming.
between there. No, well, it doesn't have to be that. That is actually really disgusting, and I won't go too far into it. But it was the mommy, daddy, or mama's milk.
Nice.
And to have a tag means you have to at least maybe have like 100 stories under it in certain websites.
Sure.
So there are people talking about it.
So, do you ever look at like the usernames of these people? Because all I'm thinking is like, if I wrote that, you know, if I did it, my username would be like definitely not Epstein. Like just shit like that.
Well, sometimes there'll be like XXX, not a minor, XXX.
Sure.
You just repurpose MySpace names, so it's not very creative space.
Tom from MySpace would be a kick-ass username.
You're right
Under
about that.
mommy daddy
Yeah.
fanfiction. So we're going to be talking about a specific section of fanfiction, which is the Omegaverse. It doesn't necessarily have to be fanfiction, but it came from fanfiction. Original content comes out of it, but it came from a very, very deep part of this, which makes sense if you take into account all the absurdities or lack of real consent. You can see how this genre formed into what it became. So I would just like to give a little content warning. You are free to take a shot after you read those warnings because they are fun.
Yeah, I appreciate the content warnings, though.
Right? So,
This is a murder schmurder get real moment.
yeah. And this relates to, to an actual case. So, this contains...
Oh, hang on, sorry. To clarify, this is a true crime podcast. And we are covering true crime because this is a crime. This is a lawsuit.
This is a crime
It is
against
a crime.
This is a crime against humanity.
against all of us.
But thankfully, from what I know of, no deaths so far. But actual legal problems come from this. And it kind of arised from this era of Omega. So
this genre of fan fiction has incurred like real life legal ramifications.
Correct.
Right? Okay, cool.
Correct.
Cool. We're on the
Right.
same page.
So today we're going to be talking about sexual violence, non-con, which basically just means rape, kidnapping, forced captivity, implied forced pregnancy, and copious amount of body fluid.
Hooray!
Is that the end of the list?
Okay.
That is the end of the list, but...
What, did you need more?
No, it's just like I was
Jesus.
expecting more. Just like
Is that it? Jesus.
Yeah,
Get
shit
outta here.
play, a lot of eye fucking, pretty sure some cannibalism. There's got to be cannibalism, right?
Go to
never
church. Get out of here. I don't
Go
know.
outside.
I don't know why, but the one that really just like rattled around in my little fucking tin can of a brain was implied forced pregnancy, right?
Yes, and we'll definitely...
The implied part. I don't know why that's sticking
Yeah.
to me.
what the
Like,
hell does that mean?
I don't know. It's
It's-
sticking on my brain.
It's very interesting because there's a certain time where the individual who can get pregnant is not capable of giving consent. At the time it appears so, and at the time it seems like nature, so it seems normal. But usually it's a point of it's a plot point technically. It's a plot point to move things along, and it kind of reflects
Okay.
current situations.
So we're,
and
we're
real-
speaking more from a writing standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is
Oh, this is like.
implied because it's never said, like the blame is never on the fetus.
Are you saying this is a comment on a post Roe v. Wade
No,
America?
this has been going on since like the 2010s. This has been here for a while.
Okay. It really left an impact on the cultural consciousness.
Not 9/11. Supernatural, the show.
Supernatural,
The
I
show
would say, is
Supernatural.
probably responsible for a lot more inappropriate sexual awakenings than
Yeah.
riding a horse.
Yeah.
I've never seen an episode. I am aware of its existence, but I do need a little
Well,
background.
Supernatural was a show that is basically a sci-fi Sherlock Holmes, where all the male characters have an extreme sexual tension.
Super hunky.
Extreme. Very,
Within
very
each other?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Even though, like, the two biggest hunks are play brothers.
Yes. Yes. But no, there are
Okay,
stories
I'm not
about
okay
them.
with that.
Okay, don't worry, Grant. A lot of stories involve these two slipping it to
Yes.
each other.
Yes. It's something.
And they're brothers?
Yeah.
canon,
thank you.
yeah, canon, yeah.
No.
So,
Like blood brothers.
Yeah, like they came from the same womb.
well, in the story,
They're white aliens.
They
Not saying
are-
that
they-
means anything. I'm just
They are what I would call white.
Okay.
so I do have something for y'all to read.
Go.
Yeah, printer ink is expensive, so they're labeled as
That's so true.
It is. It's worth
Let's
more
take
than
a quick
blood.
aside here to talk
So what's
about
that?
this.
Why is no one
expensive?
fixing the printer ink problem?
I mean, really,
How
though.
expensive can it be to make printer ink? How hard?
And nowadays, you have refillable ink cartridges.
Yeah.
So why are we not on that
What's
yet?
the fucking deal, HP
You know what I
Duron?
mean? Let's fucking figure this thing out.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's find page 1 at the bottom corner.
Uh-huh. Got
All
it.
right, who is who? What color are y'all?
I think I'm green.
I'll be blue.
Carlton,
I don't
you're
think I have a
orange
green.
page 1, and I'll
Yeah,
be
that's
orange
great.
page 2.
What
Are you
look like to
colorblind?
Yeah,
Are we
that-
both
that's-
figuring out right now
I think
that you're colorblind?
that's what I was going to say.
No, that's green.
That's a bright yellow.
That's green.
That's original highlighter.
Hold on, let me look at that.
Yo, I'm
This
trying
doesn't look green to you guys?
I'm trying to get into this. Hurry up.
So,
Sorry.
so just a little.
I just found out I'm colorblind, Jamie. You could have a little goddamn sympathy.
So I would like to preface this because we're going to really do a cold read. This is a snippet of Born to be Bound,
Okay.
which is Allison Kane's first novel. It is set where the apocalypse has happened. They all
sick.
live in a dome. It's not a complete dome. It's just a destroyed dome, right?
Like a turned over bowl.
It's just really there. We have our main character, Shepard, right?
Yeah.
He is the leader of an army, and they're on their quest to find Omegas. And we're going to go into the terms, so don't worry. I just want to get your reaction from this. They're trying to find Omegas because they want to repopulate. Omegas are currently very rare because they're going through a disease, a famine. There's something that's affecting them, right? Our main character, Claire, is pretending to be a beta by taking suppressants. She is going to infiltrate Shepard's lair to try and, sort things out, get some spies, really kind of get into it. She gets found out immediately.
But she's an Omega.
She is an Omega. And
Taking the suppressants.
taking the
okay.
suppressants. Yeah, thank you for playing along.
I'm in it. I'm listening.
We'll preference this. This is what happened, the scene before we are going to read. So Claire walks into Shepard's hut, room. It doesn't say. It's very vague, which is very
Abode.
normal.
Got it.
It's very normal. Her heat has started. Her pheromones are flaring.
Sure.
And she's about to be gang raped. That's the best way I could explain it.
Got it.
So she
No way to soften that blow.
No, gang rape is a very big plot point in these. So she has been taken by Shepard. Oh, beautiful Shepard, into his room. So this
Cool.
is Claire in the midst of her heat, and Shepard is going to help her out. So, Blue, please begin.
Real quick. I gotta ask: are people reading this because they're like, "This is good literature," or
This-
are they like cranking down?
No, this
Both.
this is mostly consumed by women.
Yeah.
You buy this on Amazon to download on your Kindle.
And
Okay.
do they crank down to this, or like?
No, I don't know
Absolutely.
if they, I don't, you know what I think they do? I think they just read it, get really steamed up, and then just go look for their husbands.
Well, that's fair too.
Because I think you're looking at it from like a male masturbatory
No.
perspective, and I don't know a lot of guys that read to crank off.
Well,
Yeah.
that's actually the point I was going to make. I mean, 9 out of 10 times men are very visually cued, sexually speaking. Women are mentally and emotionally cued, right?
And that is something we're going to talk about
Yeah.
more about because
Yeah.
it does come up. This is mostly probably blonde women named Michelle that have taken their kids to soccer practice, and she brought out her Kindle to read while her kids are playing soccer.
Yeah, most likely.
And
Or
then
sit
she'll
in the
go home,
carpool lane. Yeah.
do the dishes, put her retainer in, and then go to bed.
Yeah, because I feel like men, like get their like they expunge it. You know what I mean? They like milk it like a tumor.
Get the evil out.
You know what I mean? Right, exactly. You splooge it out so you can move on with your day. Whereas women like sit in their glue.
Is it a curse then? Is
Jesus.
it demons?
I want to clarify that I have said this to Sally Saltwater.
There you go. You almost slipped
And
there.
I almost slipped, but it didn't. And I've said this to Joey over here that sometimes I wish I could take their right to the English language. Like they don't deserve it. Like,
Hey, I earned that title. I earned that title like that.
like the way you guys like put words together, it's wrong.
Honestly, it was so funny when I wrote it. It was incredible.
Oh, you wrote this?
No, I didn't write this. The thing that got my
We caught you.
This is the long con. She was like, "Did you guys like that?" Because I
really
actually
just
wrote
a
it.
long way
So
for
before I
her to
publish
get
this-
us to workshop her fucking script.
no, the shit that
looking
got
for
me
notes
banned
here,
from actually. No, this is from an actual published book on Amazon. I can buy it tomorrow. We can read it together.
Okay,
Right.
Hang on.
All right, sorry.
let's jump in.
So
Go ahead, Blue.
right, here
Mr.
we go.
Blue, let's start.
Shepard began to pace, naked, rolling his shoulders as he prowled, all while watching her and sniffing the air over and over. Eat more. Drink the water. Voice downright nasty, threatening, Claire hissed, as if he should have known Omegas could not eat during estrus. I don't want food. No, she wanted the thing that was supposed to happen. He was supposed to be fucking her. Why was he waiting? She came to her feet, and he was there, the dominant male growling so loud her eyes rolled back in her skull. A rending of fabric preceded cool air over fevered skin.
He was all around her, tugging away unnecessary things like clothing. The smell of him, the raw sweat, sent her cunt to seeping. Sucking in great panting breaths of the fertile Omega, Shepard sought to stroke uncovered flesh, a bit surprised all her body hair had been permanently removed. Recognizing the precaution the Omega had taken to help mask her scent. She was so far gone, her little tongue already licking at his skin, completely high on the taste and smell, that when his finger swiped drops of his leaking pre-cum to run over her lips, she moaned loudly and sucked it deep into her mouth.
All right, here we go.
Can you read the pre-cum line again for me? I need
Do
to
you,
process.
do you need
Oh, the
that?
pre-cum line?
Yeah.
Were you close?
I just need to, my brain just,
Say it slower.
Yeah.
She was so far gone, her little tongue already licking at his skin, completely high on the taste and smell, that when his finger swiped drops of his leaking pre-cum to run over her lips, she moaned loudly and sucked it deep into her mouth.
So, Claire was so small compared to his mass. Easy to move where he wanted. Why do I get the perverted line?
We've all had
I want to talk
perverted
about
lines so far.
Okay, her back hit the bed. Shepard standing between her slender, spread legs, staring down with wide, hungry eyes at the river of slick that came forth. Little pink lips were spread. The swollen glands of his cock lined up where she seemed far
The
too.
river of slick.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna change that to my Instagram now.
Yes, that's pretty good. Slender legs also.
I
bother
feel
me,
like
but-
this is like
Yeah, slender was a little bit of a
not like an
loaded descriptor.
Well, this is full of like vocab words that we're gonna reach. We're gonna circle back around later.
Joy.
Little pink lips were spread. The swollen glands of his cock lined up where she seemed far too small to accept an organ so large. With one hand on her chest, petting the twisting thing, Shepard pressed forward, breaching her slippery womb, and gave a full-body shudder at the sound of her desperate cry. The woman had not lied. She was so tight it made his cock, pulsate? More fluid to aid her. He only got halfway before she began to whine and scream. Alphas were big and Shepard was huge, his girth massive, and there was only so much space inside her body. So he fucked the shit out of her.
Yeah, he's working for it.
you know.
Because here's.
I
You need to pause. Okay,
I just gotta
that's fine.
say like
This is the first page, dog.
as far as writing goes,
This is the first page of
this
the
is
whole. No,
very
no.
creative.
It's good.
I mean, it's smutty.
Like
I'm not loving the content, but it's
Yeah,
it's
I
really
mean,
good
but as
writing.
far as like evocative language,
Yeah,
I mean, you
absolutely.
River
Yeah.
of Slick. I mean, I wish I came up with that. I'm stealing that. I mean,
You might be careful. You might get copyrighted.
I might get sued by the author of Bound in Chains or
All-
Bound in Bread.
Yeah. She does have a book called Bound and Bred.
All great art is borrowed. Don't worry about it.
Thanks, Grant.
Thanks, guys.
Your support means the world to me.
Open for me, little one, Shepard growled, using his thumbs to stretch her lower lips further apart, thrusting forward, gaining hard-earned inch by inch, while the female watched a cock as thick as her forearm slowly disappeared between her legs.
When the expanding thrust bottomed out, when all her tightness enveloped that hard length, utter bliss. She needed it. She was moaning and arching, grinding her sex against his pubic bone. The stretch was divine. The vibration from his purrs, the smell. When he began to pull out, she showed her teeth and snarled at a man many times her size. Shepard seemed amused and then snapped his hips, burying that massive cock to the hilt, knowing she would squeal.
Claire learned quickly that he liked her little spurts of temper, but it was Shepard who dominated the exchange. He rutted with vigor she needed, hard and fast, building up that furious pulse in her core. When she began to roll her hips, eyes closed and lost in the insatiable need to mate, he took her by the scruff of the neck and barked at her to open, to look at the male fucking her, to recognize his prowess.
Those harshly snarled words sent her over the edge. Perfect fulfillment exploded. Claire felt every single muscle in her pussy jump to life, saw his eyes grow vicious and feral, felt his knot expand as he ground in, hooking behind her pelvic bone, locking them as deep as he could go, jerking under the intensity of the orgasm. She felt that first hot gush of semen, heard him roar like a beast while she screamed. Shepard came again, more of that copious fluid. Her body's need finally met, and with his fluid liquid surge, she blacked out.
Oh.
It could not have been long before she woke, as his knot was still binding their bodies together.
So hold on, so she passed out while he was still inside her, and he just stayed inside her.
There's a reason for it, and we will circle back to that.
I mean, clearly these are dogs.
Just take note. Just take note of every term you are questioning. I'll probably address it.
But he had shifted them. He lay below her, her body sprawled on top, Claire's ear to his heart. The serenity from the mating was fading, and the impulse to fuck was back again. The urge, the only thing that defined her at that moment, grew beyond her when her tongue darted out to lick the salt of sweat from his chest, to entice the tattooed male to begin again. The instant the knot began to diminish, she registered the loss of precious fluid, felt his seed leaking out of her, and whined. As if knowing her thoughts, Shepard dragged his fingers in the little river and brought his ejaculate to her mouth. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
But, another question. So, like, is this, how early in the story is this?
You'll know later. You'll know. Someone is actually going to tell you what page and chapter this is in.
Nice.
So,
because if it starts out like this.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, like, the whole.
Don't read ahead. Please do not read ahead.
Is the whole book, like.
Don't spoil it.
It's like, right, like, it stays, like, fifth gear the whole time, or does it, like.
Honestly, I couldn't make it after this. I couldn't commit.
Sure.
Okay. So,
stop selling.
Yeah. The smell alone drove her wild. The taste of 1,000 times more. They would have broken an Omega so small. Shepard watched, fascinated as she greedily sucked his fingers, explaining quietly, as if educating a female who should have known better. Not shown restraint at a sense so overpowering. She didn't want him to talk. She wanted him to fuck her again. A large hand came to her hair, rubbing at the scalp of the female, soothing her with pets and purrs, while the knot slowly abated so he could thrust against her jerking hips. The second mating was much less frantic, far more fulfilling, and when he had filled her again, Claire began to lose the edge that was making her so ferocious.
It was his hands, maybe, lifting and lowering her at the tempo that made her cunt sing. Or the look in his eyes, the unabashed lustful pleasure. So that's what it was like to mate an alpha. He seemed to know her thoughts, and by the crinkles at the corner of Shepard's eyes, she could tell he was amused with her.
He cupped her face, tender and gentle, and she didn't feel overpowered or forced. She felt mistakenly safe in the delirium. End of page 6, chapter 1.
Dude, that's page what? Chapter 1? Are you fucking kidding me?
This was the free sample on Amazon.
Bruh.
Jesus Christ.
Made her
Holy shit,
cunt
page
sing.
6?
Made her cunt
Made her
sing.
cunt
That's on page 6. Made her cunt sing.
Dude, Slick River's on like page 5. Holy shit.
Yep.
Now, I will say real quick, I not for me, but I do get it. Okay, I mean, obviously, we're talking about like supernatural, like anthropomorphized. Jesus,
Anthropomorphized?
thank you. Dogs here, right?
Well, the thing
and so
is-
we're playing off of like
Yeah.
alpha, beta, pack mentality.
Is this a dog thing?
Very,
Like a
very
furry thing?
They
hard.
don't actually turn into animals.
Oh no, this is like humans.
This is a hierarchy. This is like a caste system, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Oh.
there's certain elements of like penis shape and stuff like that. I mean,
Oh, it
it's
comes
clear
out.
that
Yeah.
we're dealing with dogs here.
It definitely
or
feels like a dog dick.
humanoid dogs, at least. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, I get it. You know, for people to be into that, like very, dom sub kind of mentality within a sexual relationship, but. Whoa, that's
Yeah.
graphic as hell
Yeah.
for a fucking
It's page
sample
6. Page
on
6.
Amazon.
Yeah,
Can you
anyway.
imagine just like shopping for books and being like, oh, what's this?
But the thing is too is that like if you read this sample and you buy the book, you got a customer for life. You know what I mean? Like no one's going to be halfway in or out on this. They're going to be either like,
Yeah.
you know what? I
Where's
get it.
this- yeah.
I understand.
You know what you're getting.
Pass. Right. But like if you read this like and you're like I'm going to add to cart. Yeah.
That person in that moment is like, where has this been all of my life?
Yeah, you've got a lifelong audience.
for sure.
And it's no shame, too, because you don't have to go to a bookstore. You just download it to your Kindle.
Isn't it a shame you can't go to your local Books A Million and pick this bad boy up?
Well, it's a shame because, Fabio isn't on the cover anymore now. It's just a six-pack guy, faceless.
Hang on. You said Addison Kane is the author?
She wrote this.
Is there like printed versions or is this only
You
available?
can. So
Oh, you can
that-
get like a chat
You
book?
can, but most of sales of these type of books is online. From personal experience, I have Kindle Unlimited, which is a great resource because you just pay like $15 a month, not an ad, and then you get a bunch of books. A really great selection
bunch of
books.
porn, yeah.
That's the thing. There's a lot of Omegaverse and a lot of porn on those sites. A lot.
Yeah.
And so the more I'm realizing is Amazon is really catering to erotica
Yeah.
for women. And these books are gold mines for them because they don't have to publish books. They can just make the digital version, upload a sample, make it compatible with your Kindle. And if you want a book, I'm sure they have 100 in a box somewhere in the basement that they can give you. But no one's going to want that kind of book in their house. It's going to be on
That's
their
true.
Kindle because it's somewhere safe, it's closed, and your kids are not going to find it. Your family members aren't going to find it. And it's a dirty little secret that is just for you.
And when it's a dirty little secret, it probably makes it a lot dirtier.
Okay, so I think about this pretty often. How much porn is out there? Like there's
Just sheer
still,
volume of
yeah,
porn.
the sheer amount of porn that is out there, and every day more is being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is a problem. Porn addiction is a very, very big thing.
Well,
And
that's true.
But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like I was only thinking of like pictures and videos,
oh, no.
and now I feel like there's like
Well,
you
that's
just
your man brain.
yeah, but now she like doubled the amount of porn. Like it's like
Yeah.
infinity now is squared, and that's how much porn there is.
Yeah.
I'll talk about a little bit about it later on, but
I mean, you're. I think we've already brought it up, like in this podcast, but the concept of Rule 34, right?
yeah.
If it
Oh,
exists,
yeah.
there's porn about
Yeah.
it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
And that is 100% applies to fan fiction.
No, for sure.
You find one guy who you find attractive who has some sort of media presence, you will find a fan fiction. I think even Jamie was like, "Can you find me some Leonardo DiCaprio fan
did.
fiction?"
Oh,
and
I
I,
mean,
did
that
find
seems like-
erotica
You
very
did.
quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah, I didn't read it. I just sent it.
I mean, that's
Who did
obvious,
it have?
though.
It probably
Yeah.
had another male dude too. It was like male on male.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to
Erotica.
say like Leonardo, like the Ninja Turtle, which I'm sure there's plenty for him too.
There's probably a lot for that.
Big
too.
old turtle
No,
dick.
April has a claim on that. We can't touch that.
Okay, Sally, real quick. So, has anyone attempted to make like video versions of this that you know of?
I don't know how you would.
I think it would. The thing about the literature version of it is it's very aggressive and very rapey. I don't think any woman is going to be very keen to this unless they had a specific kink. But it's soccer moms reading this because they perceive it in a certain way.
I think that would also probably defeat the method of like taking this in. You know what I mean? Because if it is on your Kindle, no one's going to walk by and be like, oh, that's obviously like some like gang rape Omega
Sure.
shit. Like they're going to be like, oh, maybe she's reading Crime and Punishment or like Chicken Soup for the teenager or
also,
whatever the fuck.
it's kind of defeating the main purpose of it. You're allowing your imagination to kind of take over for this.
Once again, you're looking at it from a penis perspective.
No, I'm just wondering if someone has like looked or read this book and be like, this is great work.
What are the film rights to this gonna cost?
Yeah. Like, is anyone in Hollywood like been like, I have it. Producers come, executives come. I must show you this, and they're all like, what the hell is this? It's like, this is the next box office like smash hit.
And then they're like, get out of my office.
Well, I don't really think it will fit for the modern population because a lot of the male to female relationships are extremely violent. It's forced captivity, rape, forced pregnancy. But the male on male relationships are super loving. When it's a female male pregnancy, it's always, I'm going to keep you here. You're mine. You're my possession. But on a male on male relationship, a pregnancy is a birth of a new beginning, a beautiful start to our new chapter in our life. And we will talk about male pregnancy. Male pregnancy, right?
Oh, nice.
So I would like to thank you for that lovely reading. It's better than I ever dreamed it would be.
I did a pretty good job. I'm not gonna.
I'm sporting a chubber over here.
Yeah, do not try to buy this book online. Addison Kane, I fucking hate her. You can make your own opinion as you go on, but just know this is bias.
No, I did not enjoy that. From a sexual standpoint.
How long is the book? Do you know?
I did this. This was 6 pages. I have no idea.
I'm wondering if there's like 400, but like, is it like a George R.R. Martin long?
I think you could finish it, and I think it's like
this
a novella.
Probably, I'd guess, like 180 to 200.
Yeah. This is a Ice Planet Barbarians novella kind of style.
Okay. Shout out to my favorite book.
The story building is incredible. I will say
Sally gave it to me, but it is on my shelf.
You haven't read it yet?
It's in the queue.
Hey, you can finish it out.
Is it anything like this? Because if it is, I'll go home and read right the fuck now.
Not as violent. Not as violent. It is very loving though.
The dogs were also very upset by this reading.
Yeah, I think they heard it.
It called to them.
They probably did.
Their penises look like what?
Well, now you know when there's danger.
There we go.
All right. Well, a lot to take in. So let's just go into Omegaverse.
I feel like the girl in the story, that was a lot to take in.
Clearly.
Reverse slick. All
Poor
right.
thing.
So we have evidence of the first time Omegaverse came out. Just rewind. Omegaverse is an erotic subgenre of fan fiction. It's categorized on its own. It's got its own cultural, it does its own thing. But we know that it originally kind of started to gain traction
in
around
ancient Egypt, right?
Yes, in the hieroglyphics. Yeah, we see evidence of knots on the pyramids, but
dirty hieroglyphs.
of course.
Anubis is getting boned right here. My theory is the Omegaverse has been here this whole time.
I mean,
Illuminati.
It's the Discovery Channel all of a sudden?
Yeah, it's like the Ancient Aliens episode. I don't know if you missed that one or not.
But we do see early evidence of Omegaverse in fan forums for the show Supernatural. Supernatural is a fantasy Sherlock TV series. Unfortunately, most of the pairings were between the two brothers, where one was the alpha and the other was a submissive. It kind of plays. Originally, it kind of started on the catcher in the pitcher. Catcher and the pitcher kind of ideals. So this is circa 2010, and it mainly focused on the term called AU, which is alternate universe. So the Omegaverse is in this alternate universe that is made up of a wolf hierarchy. This dominates all interactions, but wolves and shapeshifters do not have to be present. I stumbled upon Omegaverse. I was really into stories about Twilight, and it just so happened there's a lot of werewolves in Twilight, and the idea of imprinting was a big theme there. Mm-hmm. So I trying to find, and this is a very common thing where you're trying to find tags that are the same. At some point, imprinting was adopted by the Omegaverse as a sense of knowing who you're going to end up with, right? So it made it easy for people to go from Twilight to just straight up erotica about some sort of wolf that really never actually turns into a wolf. It's just a structure that you live in, right?
I mean, excuse me, it seems to be pretty clearly about like, dominance and submissiveness, which is especially seen us as humans as how we've always equated dog packs and everything like that. Because we've always been attached to canines, as a survival mode, and now we have them as pets and stuff, We
have a very early evolutionary history with dogs.
So this AU, or alternate universe, was really helpful in matchmaking two male characters that on screen had a lot of chemistry but were hetero to just make them have a baby. And that's where the Omegaverse came in. So this framework can be applied to anything. And, just to give a random example, let's say we have a alpha Iron Man that gets an Omega Steve Rogers pregnant. That is possible. And I'm sure that's something you can find on the internet.
Probably.
Mm-hmm. So this fan fiction...
Captain America, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on. What's the guy who can go through the multiverse?
Ant-Man?
Doctor Strange.
Do
you think he's hopping in and out of the Omegaverse?
He could probably find...
I feel like if Doctor Strange accidentally wandered into the Omegaverse, he'd pluck his own eyes out and be like, I've gone too far.
Or maybe that's just his alone time. That's his version of
He just goes up there, whips it out, and he's hanging out with one of those ring things.
Yeah. Instead of putting his cell phone in incognito mode, he just hops into the multiverse,
Do you think
the Omegaverse.
he goes into the Omegaverse and they're like, how did you defeat Thanos? We impregnated him. And he's like, I'm going to go.
Do you think when he comes back to the Omegaverse, though, Spider-Man's like, I'm pregnant, and he's like, fuck.
Weird question. Never mind. It's off subject, but weird question. What Marvel character do you think gives the best, lays it down the best?
Fucks the best?
I think Doctor Strange probably puts it in.
I bet he's pretty good.
You don't walk around with a goatee if you're not confident in your dick game.
Then you could switch places and all that. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm thinking about him when he was a doctor. He seemed like an asshole.
Yeah, but assholes fuck.
Often fuck good. Yeah. And he's a surgeon, so
Today
he's
we're
good
on
with his
a couch
hands.
tomorrow.
Theoretically.
Grant, right?
Yeah.
Play your clit like a xylophone.
I'm definitely going to say Paul Rudd is definitely an Omega. Also, I've never liked Paul Rudd.
But you don't see those big puppy dog eyes and think I could put a baby in that.
He's just so soft.
That's what I'm saying.
In a great way. I love Paul Rudd. He's so much fun.
Paul Rudd should not be. Well, Ant-Man's. I'm not. And
apparently, that new one's supposed to be good. I don't know. They haven't made it yet, but
if they make it good, I bet it'll be good.
I just hear my nerd friends talking about how fun it seems to be. Or it's
Round of
be.
palate cleansers, everyone. Because we're about to get into a shitstorm.
I assume so.
So I would probably
it
recommend...
gets worse?
We're going to go into the framework of it. So we're going to explain everything you just read. Because Omegaverse grew out of fan fiction, but it doesn't have to be fan fiction. So drink up.
Drink up.
Just a little pause here. Okay, y'all. Jeez Louise. I'm told to say this is their editor. This was such a mind... drench, screw, some kind of mind twist. Yeah, something. It's something not right. Anyway, I had to break this into a two-parter, and I'm supposed to say, enjoy, you idiots. I guess I'm just saying, I'm along for this ride. I'm laughing, so yeah, and that's why I'm not supposed to be doing voiceover. So enjoy episode 8, season 1, part 2, upcoming next. Yep.
If you like what you hear, subscribe, follow us on Instagram at Trashville_USA. And if there's a crime story you want to hear us cover, email us at don'temailtrashville@gmail.com. Back to you, fuckers!